Greetings. It's another day. We're here. Time to speculate, time to consider, time to wonder, time to do a little thought process. If you want the immediate of what's going on now, check out other channels. Some thoughts when it comes to the bigger picture, or in this sense, not to overstate it, but the bigger picture. Are we as a country and a society able to go forward? Or are we at a point where our society, our culture, our values as a culture are truly breaking down and we will lose cohesion as a society? I just saw today some reference when I was scrolling through some things of Jen Psaki, who's an MSNBC Democrat operative, who was Joe Biden's former press secretary, who apparently described that the most logical, best replacement for Joe Biden, should he resign, should he be forced out, would be Kamala Harris. But, however, this country is racist and sexist, so it might not work. Question to you. A question to you. Do you believe that America, and I'm speaking obviously to Americans, do you believe that America is about each person having individual rights, liberties, and freedoms that they have regardless of their skin, their sex, their ethnicity, their immigration status, whether they were born here, whether they were legal immigrants, check the word, legal immigrants, regardless of their religion, their beliefs? Do you believe that each person is equally an American, or can be? Or do you believe, as the modern liberal, progressive, leftist, wokeite, feminist Democrats believe, that everything must be seen through the skin, the sex, the sexual orientation, and therefore there can never be a unity, there can never be an equality? Which side are you on? Team equality or team equity? Team equality or team injustice? Team equality or team use racism and sexism to get personal gain? That's the side you're on. Go ahead, make some comments. Jen Psaki said, this country is racist and sexist. Normally I don't respond to these kinds of things, but I want the receipts. Show me the receipts. Somebody should take her MSNBC Democratic operative to the microphone and say, prove it. Prove it. Laws. What laws are in place? There are none. There are none. Long-standing practice judicially is not to distinguish or favor based on race or sex or other immutable characteristics. We now have a history that that is what we stand for and what we believe as a country. That is unchanged. What has changed is these liberal, progressive, leftist, wokeite Democrats who they figured out how to get theirs. They have figured out how to get theirs. Jen Psaki's getting paid a lot of money to make those declarations. Nobody on MSNBC is challenging her to say, Prove it. Prove it. What laws are in place that favor white people over black? None. Men over women? None. So when you say declaratively that this country is racist and sexist and therefore Kamala Harris, there won't be support for Kamala Harris, you completely skip over the simplicity of what you're doing. What you're doing is you're saying Kamala Harris can't do it. She can't compete. She can't stand on the stage. She can't stand in that position because she's inadequate, ill-prepared, and inappropriately placed. That's what you're saying. That's what you're saying. In 1972, when Shirley Chisholm put her hat in the ring to run for president, there she was. She didn't win, but nobody thought she didn't have a right to do it. Nobody thought she wasn't equipped to do it. Nobody thought she's not appropriate for it. Kamala Harris, Democrats rejected her. Then the party imposed her on the Democratic as a Democratic nominee for vice president, and the party imposed her on the country. Now, Jen Psaki and others are covering, saying it's racism and sexism. There is no questioning of Kamala Harris's ability or inability. Check out who's the racist. Check out who's the sexist. Challenge those you might agree with, support, or listen to prove it. Kamala Harris is not opposed or doesn't have support not because she's of color or because she's a woman. Get out of here. Get out of here with that. Kamala Harris doesn't have support because she is inadequate. And I mean inadequate. She is. Because you got one note samba Bernie Sanders, who's never done anything except take money and make money off of being a Marxist socialist communist and spewing all that stuff with that tough talk that he does out of Brooklyn. But Bernie Sanders was also consistent in talking about the system against the individual, talking about the rich against most people. Bernie Sanders was consistent. So when he finally ran for president in 2016 and then in 2020, Bernie Sanders was consistent. And he was consistent intellectually with that. Now, his intellect in this didn't go any further than that. His simplistic notions wouldn't pass a first grade test, but he was consistent and he was authentic with it. He was authentic with it. Trump was authentic with it. There are a couple of other people who have been authentic. Obama was authentic. You don't have to agree with them to see that they brought more from who they are, how they are. Kamala Harris brings nothing. She brings nothing. But the Democrats are trying to foist her on the American people as the next president. She might be the next president because they might force Joe Biden to resign. But they're trying to gaslight, manipulate, and propagandize people to vote for a nothing. This will not make any difference because nobody watches it and nobody's going to listen to me. But if you should happen to see this, tell me why you would vote for Kamala Harris herself. Not race, sex, none of that. Tell me why. What has she done? What's she talked about? What's her stance? Again, Bernie Sanders never produced anything Bernie Sanders' concept, he was consistent with it, and there could be reason to support that concept. Son of Liberty 2020, amliberty2020 at gmail.com, taverntalks.locals.com. Make some comments. Let's discuss. We're talking about just the future of this country and really of the world.